We are live.
Yeah. Good. Hello, everyone. Greetings to all the listeners in India and in the US. Also, happy International Women's Day to all our women listeners. Today, our topic of discussion is empowering youth to shape our future. So, to talk more about this topic, I will of course request Sam sir just to give a brief introduction. So, if we can imagine a world where every youth, every young person is not just a recipient of quality education, but is also a participant in their own learning journey. In this world, students are fueled by boundless curiosity and burning desire to make difference. Did you know that 98 million of youth between the ages of 6 and 18 are out of school? So the STAR statistics highlights the urgent need to empower our next generation. So youth empowerment not only just means to access the resources, but also giving them motivation, skills, and opportunities to shape their own future and burning desire to make a change in this world. So to talk more about this topic, I request Sam sir to address our audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Premvada. Thank you, Upendra. And thank you, Rakesh, for once again organizing this on a regular basis. I know what it takes to put this together every week. It is not as simple as just sending a link to everybody. There's a lot of work that goes in the background, and I appreciate all the work you guys do to make it easier for me to interact. Today is an interesting topic. As Premvada said, we want to discuss how to empower young to shape the future. It is really a very complicated issue because it has too many dimensions. It has multiple dimensions because youth comes from variety of backgrounds. Our diversity, language, family upbringing, economic status, life in urban versus rural areas, our exposure, education, experience, role models, environment at family, friends, neighborhood makes each one of us very unique. I always say that there are 8 billion stories in this world because there are 8 billion people. Everyone has their own story, which is very unique. So, when we talk about youth, we must first recognize that there is no general formula to empower youth to shape the future. But at the same time, there are ways and means to really address this for a large number of people to get their own guidance, input, advice, and sense of direction. So I have basically outlined 10 steps that I'll quickly go through it. Then I will talk more about one, how to empower youth, and two, how to shape the future. These are two separate topics, interconnected, interrelated. So there'll be three main areas we'll focus on. First, general idea of how to empower youth to shape the future, and then we'll break it up into two separate pieces. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm just going to share my own thinking on it. I'm sure there are domain experts professors, and others who have studied this more carefully, and they may have a different view. So, if I was to really look at this challenge, I would break it up into 10 pieces. One is to build a respectful, dignified, and secure self. I put a lot of emphasis on self. Self basically defines who you are, how you interact, how you relate to others, and self has many dimensions. Then you have to identify core values. What do you believe in? If you believe in hate, if you believe in revenge, if you have ego, if you are argumentative, you have one set of core values. If you believe in truth, trust, love, inclusion, you have another set of core values. So I think core values that you identify really define yourself and define your path very clearly. Then you have to get some domain expertise. In this day and age, there are too many options. So you have to decide what exactly interests you. You could be an artist, musician, comedian, movie star, professor, teacher, doctor, scientist, engineer, economist, politician, water expert, energy expert, environmental expert. So you got to define some expertise, some vertical where you play an important role, because you can't be everything to everybody all the time. Domain expertise really gives you roots. For example, I realized early in my life that I need to be telecom, IT, digital switching expert as much as I could, because then it will give me ways and means to really address other larger issues. So when I look at domain expertise, I see so many different options, whether it is in business, entrepreneurship, you got too many things to select. Then you need a purpose in life. If the purpose is just to make money, feed family, survive, then you have to accept that as your purpose. If the purpose is to change your village, change your city, change your school, change the nation, change the world, then you are clear as to what you want to do. A purpose could be big or it could be small. Doesn't matter, because purpose will also go on changing. Everything starts with baby steps. I find a lot of young people who want to boil the ocean, as I call it. You can't boil the ocean. You can't be everything to everybody all the time. You really need to focus in the beginning to establish yourself. I find a lot of people in India who want to solve the problems of Delhi, India, but they can't solve the problem of their own neighborhood. So you need a purpose. Then you need to socialize your idea and your vision. You got to talk to your friends and family and community and professionals. And if you don't socialize, it's a lonely battle. Then you got to start some work on local ground. You can't solve the problem of water for the world if you can't solve the problem of water in your neighborhood, in your village, in your city, in your district? Then you got to realize that all modern work requires teamwork. Everything today requires lot of support from lots of people. A lot of people get credit for doing it, but they can't do it by themselves. I get a lot of credit for doing C dot and telecom and IT, but I know that the real talent came from young people in India. Without their dedicated support, their knowledge, their energy, I wouldn't be able to do anything. Without Rajiv Gandhi's political will, I wouldn't be able to do much. So you got to build people and team around you. You got to build relationships, networks. Then you have to be a change agent. You have to work like a change agent. If you want change, you need change agents. Without change agents, there are no changes. Then in the process, you have to learn to develop leadership because you got to get work done through others. Finally, you need perseverance. You need to be lifelong learner. You can't give up. So these are the 10 steps that I have outlined, and opportunities are limitless. As you can see, the opportunity in India and everywhere else today are in technology, new tools, and recognize that change is the only constant. So if you don't really respond to change, you're going to be left behind. So now let's talk about how to empower young. I made some notes so I don't forget the basic ideas. So I'll once in a while look at my phone. Normally I just talk off my head, but I thought this was important for me to make some specific points so I don't forget the key issues. So again, coming back to first is build yourself. I tell all young people that nobody teaches you how to build a good self. Parents give you a mirror to look at. Home gives you little broader canvas. Schools and teachers give you another angle. Friends give you third angle. Business experience gives you another angle. But you have to soak in all of these different inputs and you have to create yourself. Nobody else can create yourself except you. And creating self is a very complicated task. A lot of people don't think about it. Their self is created without really their observing how self is created. Who created yourself? How did this happen all of a sudden? Okay. I learned in my life early enough that myself got created by looking up to 5 pictures that we used to have in our house when I was growing up. Gandhi, Nehru, Patel, Maulana Azad, and Subhash Chandra Bose. As a little boy, you look up and you see these huge pictures. And you say, my God, look at these people. And this was independence movement, and they became sort of your role models in a sense. Unconsciously, you felt empowered that look at all these people. What a great people they are. How much sacrifice they have gone through in life. What have they done for people of India? So we all have to focus on building good self, which also includes physical health and mental health. If your physical health is not right, you know that yourself will have a handicap. If your mental health is not right, you know you have a handicap. I find that anger management is a big, big challenge. People get angry too quickly. They keep fighting, even if they are at the airline counter. I've seen people unnecessarily cutting a line and going two steps ahead of you, knowing that this plane is not leaving early for him because he's a little early to get his seat. And people become argumentative. Anger management is very important part of self that you have to understand. What you say, how you say, when you say is a piece of art. Nobody teaches you that. You learn that over a period of time. A lot of people wind up saying wrong things to wrong people at wrong time. A good self is the one that listens to other people, that pauses before saying anything, that is grounded in respect. To me, good self is also about discipline, creativity, analysis, moral, ethics. Next thing is, as part of how do you empower people, is to build network. You build network of friends and professionals and family, and they in turn build you. If you have bad friends, you'll have bad influence. In childhood, if all of your friends smoked, you'll perhaps wind up smoking. Same could be with drug, same could be with drinks, same could be with lying, same could be with cheating in exam. Building your own environment is your responsibility. Then you've got to have clear understanding of your core values. What do you value in life? Do you value truth? It's very difficult to practice, believe me. I know it. Do you value trust? Yes, it costs a lot of money to build trust because many people take you for a ride. They mistrust you, they fail you, they disappoint you. But if you build trust, you can get things done faster. Love, ability to love everybody doesn't come easy. Ability to love people who look different, who talk different, who think different requires deep understanding of who you are. You need, as part of your core value, courage. Speak up when there is a need to speak up. You need to live, some people live very simple life, and some people live their life to display. I see a lot of people with $100,000 watch, and that their purpose is to prove that I'm very successful. Simplicity is a lesson one must learn from Gandhiji. And simplicity to me is one of the core values. Simplicity in your living, in your approach to life. Then you got to have core values related to society. Do you believe in democracy or you don't believe in democracy? Do you believe in diversity or don't believe in diversity? Same with inclusion, same with, non-violence. So you got to define your core values very clearly and stick to it. Are you for a clean environment? Then you can't throw garbage out of your car. Are you for basic human needs? Then if somebody is hungry, you should do something. Are you for non-violence? Then you have to make sure that in your neighborhood, people understand the benefit of non-violence. Because violence begins at home. Violence begins among friends, on the street, in the neighborhood. And violence against women is a major, major issue. Do you believe in fear, ego, inequality, power, profit, or you believe in exactly opposite? So I think you need to really make a list. And I have one I'll show you later on. I have a list of about 40 things in a chart that I constantly look at and evaluate. And not that I succeed in everything, okay, but I'm trying to be conscious of it. Do I hate somebody? Am I jealous of someone? These are all the core values that you define. Then you have to understand that your job is to create value and not extract value. One of the problems I have with business schools is they focus too much on extracting value, good negotiations, getting more commission, as opposed to creating value. Creating value require different understanding. I want to give you one or two examples. When I came to America in 64 and I had a class in electrical engineering where Professor Messenger was teaching something. He was trying to solve a problem and couldn't solve it. So he then tried and couldn't do it. And then there was one guy there, say John, and he says, I know John is very smart. Maybe John can solve this problem. So he gave his chalk and duster to John. John got on the stage. Professor Messenger sat in his chair, and John solved the problem. And Professor Messenger came on the stage and said, see, I told you John is smarter. I told you he's probably smarter than I am. And he was so proud of it that he couldn't solve something, but his student did. And then I said, would this ever happen in India? This was in 64. Would teacher take pride in his student being as smart as he is? And I think that comes from stable self. Messenger was comfortable. It was okay for his kids to be smarter than he is. So I think we need to understand self, and that is a starting point to really empower people. Another lesson I learned is very few people can exercise and accept leadership at the same time. Either you accept leadership or you exercise leadership. A leader is supposed to know everything. The key is to understand that sometimes you can be leader, sometimes you have to accept somebody else as leader. Another example, in early days, I had gone to one conference where there were top level people, worked on space shuttle for Rockwell. And there were 30 of us, and we would divide in group of 5 for problem solving. And in my group, I had head of space shuttle, I had head of tool company. And when 5 of us got together, somebody will say, okay, you take notes, you go get pizza, you make coffee, and everybody will do that. Next time, role will change. Nobody ever complained in 3 days that why do you want me to make coffee? Why should I go pick up pizza? Because they understood that we have a role to play, and whatever role is assigned, it's okay with me. This requires strong self, good teamwork. So I think my basic message to all young people, please pay more attention to all of these things, then only you can empower yourself. You cannot empower yourself if you are self centered, want quick profits, want to take advantage of somebody, want everyone to notice you, are very uncomfortable in a group. So, to empower young people, you really need to do lots of things. Now, let's look at how to shape the future, and then we'll open up for a broader conversation. Okay. So, if you shape yourself and stick to your core values, you will shape the future. But to shape the future, you got to define the future you want. What kind of future you want? What kind of neighborhood do you want? What kind of family, friends? What is the purpose? What's your vision? What do you want to get accomplished? Once you get to understand this, discuss this with your friends, family, community, neighborhood, in the city, and at various levels, you got to socialize. I'll give you an example. Recently, somebody called me and said, "Sir, I want to start a university on water." Okay. So I said, "Fine, give me a proposal." He gave me a proposal. I liked the proposal. Uh, so I said, "Now you got to socialize it." What does it mean to socialize? Well, you got to talk to everybody who is in this business to carry them with you. You can't say, "I have a proposal and now everybody should follow me." You got to sell it. If you're going to sell, if you can't sell your idea, don't expect to shape the future. To shape the future, you also need to be a salesman. You got to sell your idea. You got to tell people why you want to do this, how you're going to do this, why you are the right person to do it. Okay. And sometimes it takes long, long time. I know it because the first article ever I wrote about telecom in developing countries was in 1976 in the IEEE transaction that I edited on telecom in developing country. By the time I got something done in India, it was 1984. Almost 8 years of socializing the idea at various levels. IEEE, which is Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, the largest professional association in the world. Politicians. I spoke to Indian ambassadors, consul generals, people at TIFR, uh, professors, universities. And once you carry everybody with you, your task becomes easier. So you got to articulate your vision, socialize with your vision, be visible. If you haven't accomplished anything in life, don't expect to change the world. First question you have to ask is, am I qualified to do what I'm trying to do? Or do I need to work a little harder? Okay. If you're not visible, If you can't build teams, you can't change the future. You got to be disciplined. I used to keep these diaries, and I have 5 years of these diaries. 50 years, sorry, not five. I have 50 years of these diaries. Why do I keep diaries? Because it allows me to really look at what I have done, what I need to do, my program. Now I don't keep it because it's all electronics. So for last several years, I do more on computer. But the idea is to really document and reflect on what you're doing on a regular basis. Be on top of the technology because technology is really changing everything, whether it is AI or biotech, nanotech, materials, everything is changing. And if you're not on top of technology, you will not be able to keep pace with the change. So I recommend that technology should be part of your toolkit because we all have to develop our toolkit. And even if you are not in technology, you are in social work, you are a consultant, you are in government, you are in business, you are running an NGO, you need a toolkit of your own. Always remember that you need to be a team player. Without being a team player, you won't be able to accomplish much. So, at the end, you need perseverance. You don't know when you will have a chance to make a difference. That time may come, you may not even recognize the window of opportunity if you are not careful. So, you need to keep at it and not give up. So, in summary, before we open up, I would say build a good self, create the right ecosystem, have core values, get domain expertise, define where you want to make a difference in environment, business, social sector, economy, whatever. Establish yourself and then speak up. Have courage to be counted. If you don't speak up, nothing will happen. And when you speak up, you will create some enemies. There'll be people who are jealous, who will try to pull you down. That's part of the package. I know young can make a huge difference, but I also know that youth is wasted on young. When you are young, you have lots of energy, lots of excitement, power. The question is, how do you channel all this into more meaningful, more constructive, not just for yourself, but for your family, for your community, and for your country? Before you do anything, you have to make sure that you have taken care of yourself and your future. If you can't help yourself, you can't help the world. So a lot of people come to me saying, I want to do this and I want to do that. And I said, do you have a job? No. Have you made enough money? No. Well, you do that first because then you'll take care of yourself and your family. Then you worry about others. You can't be looking for a job and trying to change the world. Doesn't work that way. I've given this example many times. I'll give it once again and then close it. Once I was in Bhopal, and there was a young man who kept staring at me all the time. When I landed in Bhopal at the airport, he was there. Went to chief minister's house, he was there. Went to governor's house, he was there outside. And finally, when we were leaving, he was at the airport. So at the end, I asked Jairam, who used to work with me, saying, Jairam, get that guy. I want to talk to him. So Jairam brings him to me. And I said, look, you have been staring at me all the time. Who are you? He said, sir, I am so happy that you noticed me. I have something for Rajiv Gandhi. I said, what is it? So he said, here is the letter that you must give it to Rajiv Gandhi. It lists exactly what Rajiv Gandhi should do as a prime minister. And if he follows my instruction, he'll be prime minister for the next 15 years, guaranteed. I said, great. I said, what do you do? So he said, I'm looking for a job. Only in India, a guy who is looking for a job knows how to do prime minister's job. And he sincerely believed that he can advise PM. So I told him, I said, you better go get a job, work for 20 years, prove yourself, then you would be qualified to think about prime minister's job. And he thought I was mad. He thought I insulted him. He thought I should have told him that, no, no, don't worry, this is a great idea. I'll give it to Rajiv Gandhi and he will call you back and he will follow your advice. That's not how you build future. Thank you and hope we can have a broader conversation.
Thank you, sir. There are a couple of questions.
Sure.
The first one is from Rahul. So he's asking, considering the growing aspirations and challenges faced by Indian youth, what policy interventions do you think are necessary to equip them with right skills and opportunities? And also, how can policies be restructured to ensure quality education and leadership training in rural areas? So it's like a combination of rural and
See, you
urban.
can wait for government policies or you can define your own roadmap. If you wait for government policies to assist you, it is probably exercise in futility. You got to create your own path in the existing circumstances. That doesn't mean circumstances shouldn't change. That doesn't mean government shouldn't create better policies. But you got to respond to what it is and not wait for government to change policies to facilitate your task. You got to get it done against hostile environment. Having said that, I would like government to decentralize everything. Decentralize to a district level all financial powers, administrative powers, judiciary powers, education, health, and job creation. We are too centralized in our approach to everything. Everybody looks at Delhi to solve your problem. I don't even know about Delhi. If I have a water problem in my district, it is my job, it's my responsibility. But then you can't do anything because you don't have any revenues collected at a district level. Money comes from the state, and state gets money from the federal. So until you flip that, where revenues are collected at the local level, you won't create jobs at local level. Every district is unique. Every district is different. Some are experts in textile, others are expert in bamboo products, some are expert in furniture, technology, pharmaceutical, brassware, you name it. And you got to really design your economic activity based on local conditions, local environment, local needs, local expertise. But government is not willing to do that because that is giving up power. They want to control the power. Okay. So if there is one big thing I would advocate is total decentralization. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Next question is from Neeraj Sharma. He's saying India is such a big nation with large population of unemployed youth, and they are being deviated from prosperous future. What is being done in this regard?
Not much. You can see, you know, we are not generating the kind of employment we should be generating. Okay. I don't think we have a plan in place where you can say we will generate so many jobs in construction, so many in agriculture, so many in services, so many in hospitality, so much in tourism, so much in health, and this is the investment required to create those jobs. And these are the people who are responsible for creating those jobs. We just keep on promising things without thinking through. And everybody claps and say, oh, what a great idea, what a great idea. Okay. People at the top are not capable. They don't have intellectual capacity, unfortunately, pardon me for saying it, to do this. There are domain experts, but nobody listens to them. Can we really get a group of construction experts, let's say, and say, tell me how many jobs you will create in 5 years and what do you need? Tell me how many jobs you will create in tourism and what do you need? And you will find that what they need is something you can't supply them. And you can't create those jobs. During Rajiv Gandhi's time, we did a study. Rajiv asked us to do a study saying, can you find out what does it take to create one job in these sectors? So Dr. Ashok Ganguly and I and few others worked on it. And to our surprise, we've learned that if you want to create one job in railway, it requires a lot of money. If you want to create one more job in telecom, investment is huge. But if you want to create one job in construction, there is very little investment because you need local sand, local dirt to make bricks, local permits, and use a lot of local labor. India today needs probably, I'm just going to guess, 100 million homes. 100 million homes. This may include upgradation of existing homes. Now, how do you create 100 million homes? Let's take a plan to create 10 million homes. If each home is, let's say, even 500 square feet, 500 multiplied by 10 million square feet construction you need. If 1 square feet of construction costs 150 rupees, how much money you need? Where is that money going to come from? What is the number of construction workers you need? How many welders? How much steel? How much bricks? I mean, somebody has to sit down and do all this work. And that will give you basically a guideline. And then you say, okay, it is better to build 10 million new homes, which will create so many new jobs. People have better facility to live. People will upgrade their homes. There'll be furniture. There'll be electricity. There'll be, facility for children to study well. I was talking to some fellow a couple of weeks ago, and he, like everybody else, he was also complaining, this is not right, that is not right. And I mentioned to him, I said, look, have you ever been to your children's school and seen their bathroom? He said, no. I said, shouldn't you do that? Go to your children's school, see their bathrooms, and fix it. You don't need any government policy. You don't need any teacher to agree. Just go one day with three, four people and clean the bathrooms, fix the doors, make sure there is proper lighting, and if necessary, install a camera. Just do that. But that's work. That's Sudra's job. Nobody wants to do. They'll advise you on what to do, but they won't do it. So there is a lot of work. There is work in collecting garbage. There is work in cleaning your schools, hospitals. You go to hospitals and see how filthy, dirty hospitals are. Who's going to do all that cleanup? Do you need a policy for that? No, you don't need policy. You just have to go do it. But again, it is Sudra's work. All work in India is seen as Sudra's work. Okay, that's why it doesn't get done. Brahminian work is to advise everybody and talk about work and talk about policy. No, just go do it. That's the message I have for the young people. Clean your neighborhood. You don't need anybody's permission to do that. Go to every neighborhood schools, neighborhood hospitals. And as a team of 20 young people went to hospital and said, look, we're going to clean this hospital. Nobody will be able to say anything to you. Okay. You got to fight it. They might, say, oh, you can't do this, blah, blah, blah. But you fight it saying, no, I cannot have this filth in my hospital, in my neighborhood. I cannot tolerate. I'll give you another simple example. Once Jairam and I had gone to some primary healthcare center in Bengal. And in those days, wherever we went, people will make sure that before we go there, everything is cleaned up, everything is washed, and because Prime Minister's advisor is coming, so you got to make an impression. So we go to this place. There's a bright young doctor, very smart guy, knew everything about immunization and all. And then he took me to his office. I go to his office, and it was filthy, dirty, cobwebs, lizards, dust, files. And I really got upset. I said, look at the state of your office. How can you be a doctor and have this filthy office? I was shocked when he said, yes, sir, I'm so happy that you noticed it. I said, what do you mean? He said, I have applied for a peon and government has not approved my peon for 9 months. I mean, that was his idea of cleaning the office. Okay. I said, what do you mean you peon? Just, it is your office. Peon is not going to sit there. You are sitting here. Clean it. Get your wife here to clean it. He never thought that way. That was not his part of his mindset. He said, well, I'm a doctor. Why would I clean? That is the problem. Okay.
Rightly said, sir, because all you see all the manual scavenging, all those work is still done by the people of
Can you imagine that we have not automated our
yeah,
scavengers? And we talk about robotics and AI and all this stuff.
yeah.
We cannot really provide new equipment to our scavengers to have dignified work.
They don't
So
even
it is
have the
Sudra's work.
protective, yeah, gear,
Yeah, so
nothing.
nobody cares. I'm telling you, it hurts. But what do? We tried, didn't succeed. Maybe you guys will succeed. Okay, we messed it up.
Yes, sir. Thank you. The next question is just leading from Harsuk. He's asking whether Indian youth, whether there will be a job unemployment because of the introduction of AI, and how it will impact the future of Indian youth.
To me, AI will definitely have impact, but AI will have impact on white collar workers. AI will not have impact on the kind of jobs we talked about: construction, farming, food processing, tourism, entertainment. AI will definitely have impact on form filling. This morning I went to airport to pick up my cardiologist who had gone to India, and his flight was coming at 8. So I went to airport because he's a very close friend and a very well-known cardiologist in Chicago who takes care of me. His mother died, so he had gone there for her ashes to be put in the right river and all. And we were talking on the way here, and he said, I spent 2 weeks chasing government offices to do two things. One, my mother died, so I wanted to make sure that the pension that she used to get should be stopped. Look at this. Two, I had a home that my mother had in her name and my younger brother's name. So my younger brother and I both went there and we wanted to tell them that my mother has died. He said 2 weeks we were running around in government offices. Some places we had to fill in 6 copies of the same thing, 8 photographs. Okay. That AI will fix hopefully. But that's what is going on today. On one hand, we talk about digital India. On the other hand, it is exactly opposite. All these forms and 8 copies and 2 copy and photographs. And why do you need 8 pictures? He said. But he said, I had to have 8 pictures. So I gave him an example. I said, I'm on the board of National Herald. And every once in a while, you have to fill in all the forms. And in early days, one form said, list all the family members, your brothers and sisters and their wives and their children. In my case, 8 brothers and sisters, their wives, that is 16, their children, the whole list turned out to be about 100 people. Listen to this. Then it says your immediate children, what is their income? My son, my daughter in law. I said, I'm not going to ask my daughter in law for her income. Fellow said, no, sir, this is required by the government. I said, forget it. I'm not going to do that. Okay, say none. This is what is going on today, even today. So those jobs would be affected hopefully by AI. So you lose some jobs, which is what happened when computerization came about, which is what happened when automation came about. So that's a way of life. I won't worry too much about it.
Thank you, sir. Sir, you said about development of self, and in that you said the youth should have perseverance. So there's a question relating to the same topic. Like Sean is asking, would you be able to share a story of resilience? Because we have seen so many youth succumbing to pressure and committing suicides and everything. So just your take on how to develop that perseverance.
It comes from within. It comes from faith in yourself, not in God or anything. Okay. God is not going to come to rescue. Only you will decide. If you believe in God, that's great. Okay. But don't leave it to somebody else. Okay. You need to really worry about following on something that you started. You don't know when the success will come. That's why I always advise people to do multiple things. Don't do one thing. Try to do multiple things because some succeed, some don't succeed. Some need pushing, some don't need pushing. If you have only one thing, you'll get frustrated. But if you have 3, 4 things going on, then once one is successful, then you follow that. But in the beginning, when you plant seeds, don't plant one seed. Plant 4, 5 seeds, nurture those, and one will grow. Okay. So resilience comes from within. you have to keep at it. You have to be positive, Sean. I know Sean well. Sean's dad worked with me in 70s, and Sean is a bright man, artist, um, and I know where he's coming from. Thank you, Sean.
Yes, sir. So another question is with the governments of the world, like they don't want the DEI, the diversity inclusion, and there are no world leaders or any leaders to look up to except a few, like barging a few. Oh, how would you? What is the message for the youth? Like you said, you had leaders like Gandhi ji, Nehru, and Subhash, but the current generation, they are not that lucky. Except a few, of course, there are leaders,
No,
but
I would say I would agree with you that there aren't any good leaders to look up to who are in position of power today. You need Mandelas and Martin Luther Kings and Mahatma Gandhis of the world. But you can get inspiration from them. Just because they are dead doesn't mean they can't inspire you. Their values inspire you. Their path inspire you. Their struggle inspire you. Their tenacity inspire you. So if you want to be inspired, there is enough out there. I always said that problem is right here. Problem is never there. I'm not looking for problem in somebody else. I'm looking for problem in me. And when you begin to do that, you see things differently. I am the problem, and I got to solve that problem myself. Okay. If I can't solve that problem myself, nobody's going to come to my rescue. So, yes, you have vacuum of leadership today, but times will change. This is not going to last forever. Okay. Quality of leadership has gone down because everybody today is focused on power and profit. Okay. Everybody today wants as much profit as they can get, as much power as they can get, and they don't want to share profit or power with others. The DEI is just about that, saying, hey, that guy wants to come and share with me, and I'm more efficient. Of course, you're efficient because you have, had all the opportunity in your life. Your dad was rich and his father was rich, and they've all, benefited from colonization one way or the other. Okay. So, of course, you are better off. What you're telling me is that all rich and powerful are going to come together. They'll become more rich and more powerful, and they'll ignore everybody else in the name of DEI, saying, oh, these people are not capable. That's what is going on in the world today. Okay.
Thank you, sir. I hope the youth of India will, and youth all over the world will take some tips from this video, and finally, we'll have a future which is bright, peaceful, and united across the world. And thank you for such an engaging and interesting conversation, as always. We will meet next time with another interesting topic. Uh,
Next
uh,
time, I'm trying to get Prem Vadar, friend of mine who is a Gandhian, who was a vice chancellor of the Gujarat Vidyapit,
yeah. Okay.
Dr. Sudarshan Bhai Iyengar. I've spoken to him, and he would be very interesting because he has had many lectures for IIT students on Gandhi,
Okay.
and it'll be good to hear him. Okay. Um, I hope this was useful. Um I want to be open, transparent, share, and in the process, if I made one or two mistakes, please accept my apology. Uh, but I see you more as my family, and I want to share with you whatever I can. Not that I'm always right, not that I have all the answers, but I wish somebody had spoken to me like this when I was young. You know. So whatever little I can do, I want to do it. So thank you for being there. Thank you for listening. And you are my inspiration.
So
Okay,
you
you have
are
no
our
idea. No,
inspiration.
you are my inspiration because you have no idea what it does to me. It makes me feel good. And at 83, I feel that I'm a little useful.
No, sir. Of
Okay, that's
course,
all.
like it's always our esteemed pleasure, and it's we are fortunate to hear you and your thoughts. So it was really, really a great interaction as always. And next time we'll meet with the Gandhian topic again. We'll continue with that topic with your friend, and yeah.
Good.
So
But I see a lot of friends here, Dr.
yes,
Mishra
sir.
and others. And thank you. You're all very generous. You're all very generous. And
Yes,
I tell you, you guys inspire me. Okay, there is so much goodwill. There are so many good people, you know, and at the same time, we can't get much done, which is sad. There are so many good human beings, you know, and when I meet them at a personal level, I get excited, saying, what a great person this is, you know, and they're all generous, they are all simple, they all want to do good, and that's how India survives. India survives on the goodness of all these ordinary people. Okay,
absolutely, sir.
so thank
So
you, Upendra.
Thank you.
Thank you, Upendra. You are in the background all the time. You need to
yeah,
speak up once in a while.
he's
Sure.
the backbone of the show. So
Thank you. Upendra makes it happen.
yes,
All
sir.
right.
Okay. Rakesh, are you there? Rakesh sometimes is busy, so
Yeah.
he may not be able to join. Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks.
sir. Thank you,
Pamela.
everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.